you think about visual art journals, paintings, assemblages and more? If you like it like I do, then you are right here. Hi, I'm Bea Grob and I love to inspire you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So glad you joined me today for another video. Now I'm excited to share with you my first page of my handmade journal. And in case you haven't seen how I made this journal, just from my collage papers and with a little bit of fabric and cardboard and an old book cover, I will put the link down below in the description so you can check out how I made this journal about a month ago, I would say. Anyway, so I did my first page in this journal and I decided to do a fabric doll, but I first did test it out without filming. So this was my first attempt for a paper doll, and I did use from the stamp set, from my newly released stamp set, this stamp and some Inktense pencil, and I did some stitching along with some silk thread. Now I knew that it is working, because I wasn't sure whether it works or not. I decided to film it also. Now I did start again with stamping, but this time I did stamp this face here from the silicone stamp set. Now I did color it in with the Derwent Inktense pencils, which are very vibrant and water soluble, so you can move the colors a little bit around, but once they are dry again, they stay put where they are, so you could go over again and do more and whatever you want to do. Now next step was to stitch along the edges. You're going to see it in the video, I did draw a body. This time I did sort of a little bit of rounded. This one was pretty straight. You can do whatever you want. And then I did stitch around with the red embroidery thread for the body, and for the head and the neck I did use again the same silk thread I have used here. Now my original plan was to add this crown with, I wasn't sure whether with paper or with the fabric again, but while I was browsing through my laces and ribbons and whatnot, I did find this piece of lace, and I thought that gives a perfect crown for her too, so I did switch my plans. That's how I roll. Sometimes I have an idea when I start with a project, but it usually changes somewhat. I don't have a fixed step-by-step process in my head when I start something. I'm open to new ideas, so to speak. Anyway, so I did add this, and this was also some from my stash, some ribbon laces, and I made sort of an apron for her. Now I needed a place where I can put it, just put it on a flat page that doesn't hold on. So I decided to do a belly band, where I did also gather a little bit, and I did use the same muslin I have used with this lady. No, that's not true. The same linen which I did use with this girl, and some of my leftovers from making the book, fabric also. I did print it on fabric with my collage papers, so I did use those, and then I did gather it together a little bit, which, by the way, I have been inspired by Wendy. I will put a link to her description, to her video channel down below too. She is in my design team and did something with gathering fabric laces also, so that just reminded me to use those techniques again. You know, sometimes you have done so many things and you forget about other things you have done in the past, and you need somebody to tell, hey, I'm going to use that, and then, oh yes, I did that before and maybe I should try it again. So that's why I keep some of my art journals to myself to go through and remember what I did. I do sell some of my art journals, but some I really keep for myself, just to get a reminder for myself what you can do in art journaling and in art in general, not just for art journaling. Yeah, so there's one thing I wanted to explain, which I forgot before. When you use Inktense pencils, and I'm gonna put her up pretty much to the camera. Can you see the difference in the textures of the blue and the red? Well, that's because this muslin is very fine fabric, so the pencil and the spreading of the colors is a little bit easier than with here. You have more like streaks, which I don't mind at all. It's just a different effect. You just have to be aware that there different substrates give you sometimes different effects. So yeah, that's about it, what I wanted to tell you about how I did do that. The other things I have used is again from my collage papers, this little label here with the number, and the words. I have a part with words I did use too. Now, don't forget to check out my products on my website www.beagroup.com. I will have the link down below, and I will blend it in somewhere in the blue bar when I'm editing this video. Now, I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you soon again. Take care. Bye. Okay, as I mentioned, I want to replicate this doll. I had to try it out first, whether it works or not. But let's see. Maybe I use another girl. I could do that. Let's use this one this time. And I need an acrylic block. Here we go. And I do have some old vintage fabric, which I'm gonna use. You can use like a muslin, any plain fabric with not too much texture. Actually, this one was a real muslin. Now I have a slightly textured fabric, but I think it works as well. And I'm gonna use again, I did use the black on this one. Maybe I'm gonna use the brown this time. Let's put that away. I don't need that right now. But I'm first gonna test it on a other piece, whether it works or not. I really recommend having it a really good juicy ink pad, and I use StazOn, a permanent ink. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, and I really like to have some foam underneath, so it gives a better impression. Let's see how that works on this textured fabric. I think it could be okay. So I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to again stamp it. And give it a little bit time to transfer the ink from the stamp to the fabric, or to the paper also, if you do it on paper. Yeah, that's even better than the last one. I do have a little bit of smear here, but hey, that's how it is. Now, I think this time I'm gonna do like a reddish color, and I'm gonna use the Inktense for that again. That's not the right one. Tangerine, orange, no, not orange. But I need the amber for the face. Chili red sounds good to me for the dress. And then maybe I'm gonna use the scarlet pink for the cheeks. And maybe I make green eyes, apple green. And the amber I use for as a face color. But I also need a little bit of dark, I think, dark chocolate, yeah, to elongate my girl. And this time she's gonna have what kind of round? Yeah, I'm gonna make her a round opening from the shirt or whatever it is. Here we go. Okay, let's see. Let's start. I'm gonna need no water. Some water. I'm gonna quickly refill my water tank brushes. Here we are. Okay. Let's start with the face. I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but I have just a light coloring, and I do leave the middle for the nose whitish. Yeah, maybe you can see it that way. There is just a light touch with the colors. They are called Inktense for a reason. Then I thought I'm gonna use the scarlet pink for her cheeks. I do love making cheeks for my girls. It's just, I didn't think about the hair color yet. Let's do a brown. That's one here. Do I have a brown? Yes. Willow. So she's gonna have brown hair. And here I go a little bit stronger. I don't want it so light. I want it rather dark, the hair. So I add sort of more pigments. Okay. And I think I even gonna go in with a little bit. Do I have what's that? Aquamarine? No, that's not what I want. I also use a little bit of a deep blue, but again, just sparingly. Okay, so. And let's start with the hair. And just activate it. I think I want a little bit more brown. Where did I put the dark chocolate? That sounds good. Now it does bleed out a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. And then let's go on to the red for the dress. Now, I'm really liking this way better. Some people do add a little bit, you can't see it. Some people do add a little bit to a plastic surface, scribbling a little and pick it up, but for me it works better if I draw directly onto the doll. I do pick up over here a puddle of water. Sometimes I have the feeling with those water tank brushes, you sometimes don't get enough water, so that's what I'm doing over here. Okay. Now I also gonna use the same red for her lips, and so I'm gonna make green eyes. I'm sorry, I have to go over here. Now I'm gonna go over to my iron board and gonna heat set that. Now I'm also gonna use a little bit of the oil-based charcoal just to give the black pupil again. That's better. I think I'm gonna go over again with the willow. I just want to darken it up a little bit. It is a little bit trickier with this fabric that has a slightly a texture. But on the other hand, I like the effect. Okay. Now what I also do is a little bit of a highlight. I always like to do highlights. That I do with the Posca pen. Okay, let's try that again. I have to find a Posca pen that is still working. Well, that might work. Here we go. Voila. I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit again. Here we go. Now, I don't know whether you can see it, but I did sew along the lines, and that's what I'm gonna sew or stitch or embroider, whatever you want to call it, before I cut it. I find it much easier this way. Okay, I do have my thread here, and I have to think about if I want to fill it up, whether I can already stitch here or not. And I think I have to start with the white, going here, and then start with the red until maybe here. I have to stitch it in two parts, the red piece, because I will have to fill it in between. So I think I'm gonna start with the, it's not a white, I don't think if the camera picks it up, maybe over here. It's not a white thread, it is actually like an off-white thread. So I'm gonna go in between those two layers to hide my knot a little bit. I start here at the opening slightly and go along these lines here until I'm back here at the other side of the neck. It is a back stitch. You can find instruction anywhere on the internet. It's one of the simpler stitches. But I wanted to have it really close, that's why I need a back stitch and not just a running stitch. And the size of the stitches depending a little bit on how much curvature we have. So I do adapt it a little bit. And I'm not going to make you watch all the time me doing those back stitches. I'm actually gonna stop recording here, and then I will be back when I'm starting with the red, and probably before I have to fill in my body and then close up. Okay, I'm here at the end of the neck, and for the moment I'm just gonna leave it. Maybe I'm gonna go along here afterwards. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I go once with the white and once with the red. Just options. Anyway, I'm gonna start with the red now for along the dress. And again, I go into the middle. Still want to have it a little bit put together. And do the same thing, just this time I stitch in red. So I will be back when I have something else to show you. Okay, I think I do leave a little bit of an opening here, and I just leave that end so that I can close up of them after when I have filled in my thing. I decided to start here again, going all along this until here, and then I stop and then I start filling in. So here we go. So here we are at the neckline of the dress. I just gonna leave it for the moment like this and start filling in with my fibers. Those are those classic fibers you use in the pillows, so that's what I'm using here, but you can use any filling supplies you have, doesn't really matter. What I always have with me is a little bit of a tool where I can push it up, because that's what I have to do here. It has to go through the neck up there. I'm probably going to speed up this process here, but I want you to see the whole process. The trickiest part is it to get it through the neck up into the face, and I really want also a little bit in the face. There is fabric in here, fabric filling in here, and I don't want too much. I don't know whether you can see it, but it has a slightly curve now. Now I want to fix that a little bit, and then I don't want so much here. So do I go with the red? Yeah, I think I go with the red. Okay. So I'm gonna stitch it here along the neckline so that it stays where it is up in the neck and in the face. Do I go with the white or not? First of all, I'm gonna make a back stitch here again, just to secure my thread, because I don't need the red for sure. Just to secure it a little bit. I think I'm gonna try it if I want a second line on the neck, or in white or not. Let's see what it looks like. Now, I have to see how much I want for the body. There's certainly too much right here, so I'm gonna flatten that out a little bit. Yeah, that's better. It's better, but I still need a little bit down here. Okay, so I'm gonna close it up here. I don't know whether you can see it, but I just did cut it along the stitching. I left about 3 millimeters. It's certainly not a doll to play for kids. It's just purely decoration for our art journals. And I recommend having good scissors for this part. Not your crafty papery scissors. It doesn't have to be as a big scissor as I have, but that's the only good fabric scissor I have left. I'm not good sometimes. Just saying. So here we have another doll. You can finesse a little bit with her, still trying to even out the filling, which isn't so important for me. Now I also want to add a little bit of laces, ribbons. Let's see what I have here. Don't need that. I do have a box here. What do I want? Certainly not the green. It's a little bit too fine. What about that? It could work. Nope, don't like it. What about that? Maybe I'm gonna make sort of an apron instead, what I have done here. And I just did simply glue those things. I didn't sew it on. Because I know I want to put it on this page. Now I'm thinking maybe it's a little bit too much. I don't like that. I don't like that. The other idea I had, I want to make sort of a belly band with some fabric. I do like the necklace idea, or it could also be a crown. Well, I think it's going to be a crown. And then means I have, if I do the belly band, there's no, yeah, that's going to be the crown. if you don't have those kind of laces, you also could make a crown from a paper. That's the other option, fabric, a paper crown or something like that, or leave it just without a crown. Now I have a little bit to think about what I want to do for decoration. Okay, I'm pretty sure I want to do the crown, and I think I'm gonna stitch it. Means I'm gonna cut back here a little bit tighter. Yeah. And I'm gonna stitch that. I like the crown. So I need again, I'm gonna use the same thread I have used around her head. I think could do that, yeah. So she's gonna have an apron, but with another lace, which I think it's a little bit nicer because it's a finer lace. And I'm simply gonna glue it. And I do use fabric glue, to call all. It's an all-purpose glue, also for fabric. So I think I'm gonna use that, or yeah, I'm gonna use that. So I still could go in my idea that I want a belly band here. And I think I'm gonna ruffle it a little bit when I have sewn on this part onto my white fabric. I'm gonna go to my sewing machine and do the belly band. Okay. Now, do I leave the threads or not? I'm not sure yet. No, actually, I'm gonna cut them back. Now the outer lines I did on a smaller stitch, and the inner line here I did on purpose on a very large, actually the largest stitch I could have, because I want to pull those fabrics a little bit together. For that I need to knot those two ends together. Okay. And now I can carefully pull them a little bit together so that it is ruffled. I'm still not sure whether it is a good idea, but I'm just gonna try it. So we do it together. We go on a adventure in ruffling belly bands. Now I need to attach that here and that here. The question is if it is holding it or if it is falling out. No, it doesn't fall out. Okay, means I can glue that to this page. Or do I want another page? Now that I have so much red, it's a little bit dark. Huh? What about here? My white page. No, I actually like it better here. Let's do it. Again, I'm going to use the coal oil because I have fabric and paper. I don't like that glue so much because it has a certain smell, but sometimes you have to use it. Now that has to dry a while, but I'm thinking I want to add also from the collage papers. Let's see what I want. Not this scissor. Not this scissor. It happened so quickly. I like sort of the labels. Oops, that's not how I want it, but oh well. Maybe that down here or on this side. And then treasures. Treasures in white or in pink? I think treasures in white. Now I'm gonna use the glue stick. Now for those paper thingies, I'm gonna use the glue stick, but I think I'm gonna go a little bit with the black around. Just ground espresso, that's fine too. I think this one I just leave as it is because it is already colorful. That goes here. Okay, now this glue, this collal, is a very wet glue, so it takes a while to dry, but I will take a photo. I will do the glamour shot when everything is dry and put it as usual at the end of the video. Now, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If so, please give me a thumbs up, leave a nice comment, and if you're not subscribed yet, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Now, in the meantime, take care. Bye.